Namaskaram. This is Sandhya Shankar bringing you Acharya chat from Music of Madras. Today we have a very interesting personality whom I am looking forward to chatting with. She is a Bharatanatyam exponent and also a Kathak dancer. Rarely you find somebody who is, proficient in both these dance forms. Let me introduce you to Karnataka Kalashri Suparna Venkatesh. Welcome, Suparna.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It has been a wonderful thing that we could reach out to you and have you on the show. It would have been so much better if we could have met in person. But with this pandemic times, it's really driving everybody crazy.
Yes.
So, very rarely we come across, as I said, somebody who is proficient in both these dance forms. Tell us about your journey in music. When did you first start getting interested in dance?
I think so. I started, that interest in dance came to me from my mother, who was also a dancer, who learned dance in Mangalore. She's from Mangalore. But in those days, they were not allowing the girls to dance after a certain age. So she was not allowed to dance. I think so. She stopped dancing when she was in 8th standard. And that's how that interest in dance, which she had, she passed it on to me. And she was looking out for a good dance teacher. And in 1977, Jailakshmi Alva and her husband, they shifted from Bombay to Mangalore. They shifted, their institution was called as Chitrambalam in Bombay. And when they came to Mangalore, they started an institution called as Sri Devi Nrityalaya. And my mom had read about them, and so she enrolled us, both my sister and myself. Those days we had to walk a long distance, because so she had to force my sister also into learning, because I was very much interested. Walk that distance to dance class and come back. In the 70s, late 70s was a little scary for my mother, because we were quite small. I think so I was in 4th standard or something.
Excellent. I think typically, the same generation that we grew up with. And yes. We had a similar situation when we needed to learn music or anything, me and my sister in Bangalore. So, we will, whatever she did, I had to do, or whatever I did, she had to do. We were like, what do you say, forced to be in that circumstance.
Yes.
And that actually encouraged a lot of intimacy between us.
Yes.
Does your sister still dance?
No, after marriage, she was teaching dance in Manipal. And then once her husband started getting transferred, he was working for the bank, Syndicate Bank of India. So when he was transferred, then she had to stop. And now she has totally stopped teaching or dancing.
Yeah, in any of these art forms that we want to pursue, particularly dance, it needs so much of encouragement from your spouse and all the family members after marriage.
Yes,
it needs a lot of support.
Everything should come to one single base. Like it's not, she had support from her husband, but according to his job, she had to travel with him, and that was the problem. And
a lot of factors.
So many other things. It's not only the support, so many other things come along with it. It's like a whole package. One thing goes wrong somewhere, then everything is not at. You cannot do anything, you know.
Yeah. Suparna, let's begin at the very beginning. So, how was your classes with Srimati Jailakshmi Alva and her husband? Both of them were teachers, is it, of Bharatanatyam?
My Jayalakshmi Alva was the first disciple of Padma Shri Dandayatapani Pillai, and
Oh,
she
awesome.
migrated to Bombay, and then from then she married an Alva who's a Mangalorean. That's how she came to live in Mangalore. Master Ji wanted to do something in his hometown, and we had some knowledge of dance because of my mother. She used to make us sit and sing songs. She had learned music and dance, though she had no time, absolutely no time for us. In the evening, sometimes she used to make us sit and make us sing songs and all. And when Jayalakshmi Alva and Ramakrishna Alva came and settled in Mangalore, we joined the dance class in 78 or 79, sometime there. Absolutely new, because it was Tamil. She was all Tamil. She was a Tamilian. Her base was from Mysore. She was from Kumbakonam, basically. And Master Ji was a Kathakali artist and a freestyle artist. He used to do folk numbers, and he had also learned Bharatanatyam from Dandayatapani Pillai. So he used to make us do all these exercises for minimum 45 to 1 hour. We were a small batch of 5 to 6 girls, that's all, in the senior group. And Master Ji used to take the class in the beginning. Then he used to take adult classes. And that used to go for another 1 hour or so. And once he finishes his class, then he used to call out to auntie. We used to call her auntie. So auntie used to come and start with items. So minimum class of 2 hours by Master Ji, starting with exercises, physical exercises, then adults, and then auntie used to come. So it used to go on for 3.5 hours.
How did you manage with your school and your studies, and or you didn't have time for other curricular activities? It was only school and dance?
It was school, dance, and music. Music master used to come home. He was a disciple of Chembai Vaidyanathan Bhagavatar. So he was an old man, and he had stayed with the Chembaiji in his Gurukula for 16 years. And then he is not a man who wanted to teach or perform or anything. He had learned music, and he was only very choosy with his students. So two of us were very fortunate that he could come home and teach us twice a week. He used to stay in our house. So it was music and dance and sports. And I don't remember my parents telling me, this is the grade that you're supposed to get. They used to just look at my marks card and say, oh, you have passed, that's fine. So there was no study pressure on studies. It is just come from school, throw your bags, change your clothes, eat something, and then run to dance class, or go for sports practice, or be ready for the music class. And only the next day morning, I should think of homework. And so there was no pressure of studies at all. It was just, you have to become a graduate. That was the only thing my father used to say.
Today, the children would be very, envious of you, because I think they have pressure of all kinds, both academics and whatever passion that they want to pursue, or the parents want them to pursue.
I know. I have so many of the students who come and say, ma'am, I got 98 in maths. I said, oh, wow, fantastic. Your parents must be happy. No, my mother is not happy. She is after me. Why did you lose that 2 marks? They're not happy with 98.
Easily, we had a more charming childhood.
Yes.
Suparna, you forgot to mention your music teacher's name.
My music teacher's name is Subraya Mani Bhagavatar.
Awesome. So you had both complementing things with you. You were learning dance along with music, and that should have been an added advantage.
Yes, I never thought of it then, but in the later stage when I'm teaching, now I realize all the values of what my music sir of learning music along with dance, and the classes that we had, dance classes that we had, that um, close knit family atmosphere with the teachers, and the training that, I mean, concentrated on only 4 or 5 of us. That training, all that. Now, when the group is so huge, the number of students learning, there's so many students, they just learn and then they disappear after their 9th standard, or when they come to the first PUC or second PUC, they just disappear. Then it was not like that. It was all of us were interested in dance. And I don't remember thinking of performing or traveling or anything. It was just learn, learn, learn. Just do whatever they were saying. Masterji used to say, do this today. We were ready to do it. And one day it used to be only Tate Tahados for 1 hour. From Ati Vilamba, Vilamba, Madhyama, and Drita. And sometimes faster than the Drita also, 5 speeds. So it was 1 hour, 1 day. So that training, it is difficult. Sometimes I feel that I should also teach in that pattern. But there are no students who are not patient to learn only ADOs for 2-3 years.
But you would recommend it, no? It will be a big asset if they could do that.
Definitely helps someone who wants to learn and have a very strong base.
Absolutely. So would you liken it to the varnams that we learn when we learn vocal music?
The varnams.
Yeah.
Masterji taught very few items.
No. This other will be something like learning a lot of varnams and excelling in it. The more you practice varnams, your base is supposed to be very strong.
What I feel is, see, music, it might be you're learning different ragas. But in dance, I feel you should not learn many items. You learn few items, but master it. Practice it. Practice the same item again and again and again and again and again. And it should be so free. Like my Kathak Guru Maya Didi used to always say, it is not that every performance you should keep changing your items. Don't do that. Perform the same item. The audience is not always the same. There'll be different audience. Every time you'll have different audience. But when you're practicing the same item and when you're performing the same items, it becomes so easy for you. You don't have to worry about what is next. It'll just flow out of you and you'll start enjoying it better when you know the item so well.
I think that is a very good advice that she had given you.
Yes.
Going back to what you just sometime mentioned, that now children, you see them dropping out after their 9th standard, or more likely in their 10th. Probably that explains that they obviously are not in a situation like you were in, where there was no pressure of academics. To do their board exams, plus start thinking of whether they should apply for the IIT or premier institutions. All this pressure, they're not able to cope with both their dance or their music and also studies. So we may be losing out a lot of good talent in this process.
Yes. Those days, I think so, most of the parents never thought that their girls will take some professional job. Like if they at the most, if they go to a bank, they work in a bank, or they become a teacher, they are more happy. Very rarely you find some engineers or doctors, but the preference was given for family. Even if you're a doctor or a teacher or whatever, they used to say first, once they get married, then they say first you have a child and then you take care of your child. Family. And I don't think the husbands or the in-laws were that supportive for a career woman. There are exceptional cases, but some of them, they prefer their mothers or daughters, wives to be in the house, take care of the family, in-laws. It used to be a joint family. Nowadays it's not like that. They want their children to be independent. The girls, I'm speaking about the girls, I'm not speaking about the boys. They want them to be independent. They want them to think of their career. And that's why all this pressure. They don't let them be what they want.
Agreed, agreed. I think in your case, if I must read it right, your mother was able to see her dream being fulfilled by you and your sister.
Yes.
So, did she enjoy your performances?
Yes, she enjoyed my performance. Even after my marriage, I stayed very close to her. And later on, she helped me in constructing this dance class of mine, where she and my father stayed in the first floor, and I'm staying in the second floor, and my dance class. And I had no worries about my daughter whenever I traveled abroad, or if I come late after a performance or after the class. eh, no worries about cooking or taking care of my sister, my daughter. The whole household responsibilities was taken by my mother, uh, till almost till 1914, when I lost her. Till the last minute, she was there with me all the time. My father was there. He used to come along with me for the programs. And yeah, without their support, I think so, it would have been impossible for me even to raise my hand and say "Tei." Even that it wouldn't have been possible by me.
uh, she must have been a very proud mother watching you blossom and do well in this field.
Yes, she's definitely, yes.
Suparna, let us take a peek into your relationship with your guru, Srimati Jayalakshmi Alva and Ramakrishna Alva. You did explain that there were used to each class used to be running to about 3 hours and all that. What kind of relationship was
It was like we used to go there in the.
Were they very strict?
Not after the class. Not after the class, but in the class, yes, definitely very strict. Auntie also was very strict, and uncle was also very strict. And after the class, especially during our Arangetram training for 6 months, we used to go, both of us used to go in the evening. After school, we used to come home, finish our homework, and then go to dance class. And then after the class, we used to stay there in the night, because the class used to go on till 10:30 in the night. And Mangalore, we didn't have street lights, and monsoon time, we used to have heavy rains. So it was impossible for us to come back. And then next day morning, uncle used to wake us up again early in the morning at 5:36, and we used to have a class for another 2 hours, and then come back home, just have a bath, and then go to school. So that was our schedule for 6 months. And I was just Arangetram practice. I think so. I was in my 8th standard, and I think so. In the night, I used to so much of practice, and I was into sports also in school. So, and we used to walk. There was no bus or anything for us, so we used to walk. And in the night, I used to moan in my sleep. Ooh. And I remember my master, he was pressing my leg. Because he was saying, Papa, the baby Magu is feeling very tired, I think so. And every day after our class, after his schedule of practice, he used to go to the fields in front of the dance class and pick up those Brahmi leaves from the fields, those green leaves. And he used to prepare chutney for us in the night, because it is believed that Brahmi leaves helps you in the memory.
Yes, it helps cognition, yeah, memory, yeah.
So every day night we used to have big, every day night it was compulsory for both of us to eat Brahmi leaves chutney. And when in our Arangetram, when we finished it, he said, "See, the Brahmi leaf, you didn't make a single mistake."
Mistake. You are in fact, I think people watching this program will start making Brahmi leaf chutney.
I know.
And we can share the recipe with them. Suparna, do you still make that chutney and give your students or your family?
Here I'll have to go to a Mangalore store to get the proper Brahmi leaf, which I did prepare today in the afternoon. We had it for our lunch.
And I'm sure you have good memories of your master.
Yes, yes.
Absolutely. Where would we get teachers like that anymore who are so involved in our growth?
And every day auntie used to prepare that rasam, that Tamil type of rasam. You know, I don't know, very sour, and that rasam every day. And I used to take the whole vessel and drink it.
So, when did you move to Bangalore?
I moved to Bangalore in 89. In the year 1988, I attended the workshop of Guru Padma Subramaniam, this Natya Shastra Shiksha camp, which was conducted in Bangalore. So I attended that camp, and I was like, it was only my teacher, Bharatanatyam class. That's all I had seen till then. That's the first time that I saw something other than Bharatanatyam, other than my teacher's style. So much. There's so much in that camp, especially learning under Dr. Padma Subramaniam for 15 days was an eye-opener for me.
And she's just wonderful. Yeah. But that she also teaches Bharatanatyam.
We had training with Aris, and like it was Natya Shastra Shiksha camp. In the mornings, we used to have theory classes, and then we used to have guest lectures coming every day. And talking to us about different dance styles. So it was the first time I saw Odissi by Guru Kelucharan Mahapatra. First time I saw Kathakali. First time I saw Mohiniyattam. First time I saw Kuchipudi. Then the Perini Natya from Guru Nataraj Ramakrishna. His students had come to perform. And that is the first time I saw Guru Maya Rao. And I had written a letter, which I still have with me. I had written a letter to my mother saying that if at all in my life I should be somebody's student, I want to be Maya Rao's student. I want to learn at least so much from her. And God must have, some Ishta Devatas must have said Tatastu. And the very next step, my father, who was in Hubli, got transferred to Bangalore. And he said, "You have finished your graduation. Why are you there in Bangalore? You come here, stay with us till you get married." So I said, if I have to come to Bangalore, then I want to join Maya Didi's institution. So he said, okay. Then he came to know that it's a 3 years course. So he said, 3 years is too much. But if you get a good proposal, by then you should be ready to get married. I said, whatever it is, but I want to join somewhere.
Let me make a start.
That is later on. So I joined the course. And that's where my whole life, you know, otherwise it would have been like my sisters get married to someone, and then family becomes the priority. And dance is not a career, or even if it is your passion, you have to give up some things for your family. So, but after joining Natya Institute of Kathak and Choreography, that's where I met my husband, Sai Venkatesh, who's also a disciple of Maya Didi.
Excellent.
Then I got married to him, and then that's where my life got stamped. This is your career, and this is your life in the future.
No, that would have helped, because if your husband is also in the similar field or same field, there is a lot of understanding and also appreciation.
Yes.
He will be encouraging you, and He's also a dancer?
He was a dancer. He's my Didi student. He has taken part in all her productions and all those things. But unfortunately, he had an accident way back in 1984, and he could not do, I mean, serious Bharatanatyam or any classical dance forms. But he has taken part in all the major productions in Natya institution. And he specialized himself. I think so. Your video is, yeah. It video.
Okay, அந்த part மட்டும் திருப்பி கண்டினியூ பண்ணுங்க.
Yeah.
At Natya Institute, it is along with choreography, you not only learn to choreograph a dance production, you also learn to do light designing, stage decoration, costume designing. So he chose stage and light designing. So that was very convenient for me also.
So all those aspects, there are so many finer details which go into this production of a stage production when you put up. There are so many other aspects which need detailed work.
Yes, it was Maya Didi who suggested to him, see if you have, if you cannot dance as you were dancing before, it doesn't mean that you should give up dance. Dance is not just dancing on stage. There's so many other aspects connected to dance. So take up stage lighting. So she is the one who put him into that field. And with her blessings, he has done very commendable jobs. I mean, he has done stage lighting to Sonal Mansingh ji and Vaijayanti Mala ji and so many dancers here in Bangalore. And he has traveled abroad with many dancers, along with Sangeet Natak Academy dancers, the troops going abroad.
Yes,
he has done stage lighting to so many dancers. So with Maya Didi's blessings, both of us, we find her blessings in every stage of our life.
I think it's your Guru Bhakti also which is speaking now.
Yes.
Suparna, didn't you find it conflicting or did you find it challenging that to learn Kathak while you have learned Bharatanatyam for so many years?
No, I didn't, because I was not dancing Bharatanatyam when I was learning Kathak. Once I came to Bangalore, I was actually, when I was doing my course in choreography, I started learning Kathak. I was not dancing. Even later on, I'm never recognized as a Bharatanatyam dancer. I'm more recognized as a Bharatanatyam teacher, because my career took off as a teacher here. We didn't have many opportunities in Bangalore, other than the annual. It is, the scene is not at all like how it is now. So here, if you've had one or two performances, that was great.
Yeah.
So when I
and
came
anyway,
to
Bangalore is a laid-back town by itself, and back then in 1970s and 80s, it would have been further, docile and
yes, my own relatives connected to temples, or during the temple festival, if we ask, Mama, can you arrange my dance pro? Oh, who's going to see your dance? It's all Tamil Mayam. Instead of that, we would have an Yakshagana. That was a response we had, because my teacher used to make us do Varnam, Padams, and everything, from Pushpanjali is to be Tamil. And in fact, for our Arangetram, some of my relatives complained to my father, why is the Tamil god on the stage? Nataraja was considered as Tamil god. Because Shiva is worshipped in the form of a lingam there. Not in the form of Nataraja. They say that is a Tamil god from Tamil Nadu. The Nataraja is from Tamil Nadu. Why is it here?
Oh, even the posture was regarded as a Tamilian posture.
No, the Nataraja so that she
Exactly.
had
No,
kept
no,
on the
that pose, the same Shiva is in that pose,
yeah.
and they thought
That
it
is
was a
you
feminine
know
god.
that it is a Chola sculpture. So
True.
there is no Nataraja temple anywhere in South Canara.
Yeah, you have Marudeshwara and all, it's in Linga form only.
Everywhere Linga form. Yeah. In let it be in Kadri, the
Dharmasthala.
place where I was born and brought up, Kadri Manjunatha, it's Linga form, or any Shiva temple, Dharmasthala, everywhere it is Linga form.
Yes. But they are beautiful temples all the same. Very beautiful.
Yeah.
That whole belt, very clean and very beautiful.
Greenery.
So,
Greenery.
absolutely, absolutely. Because I think constant rainfall and it is very attractive that way.
Yes.
So, Suparna, which would you say is your biggest passion, Kathak or Bharatanatyam, or is it dance on the whole?
It's dance on the whole. I wish I could learn Odissi. I wish I could learn Mohiniyattam. I wish I could learn Kuchipudi. When I see so many dancers, they dance, beautiful dancers dancing so well, I feel I should have done so much more. I should have learned so much more. I shouldn't have started teaching very early in my life. I should have just learned. Even now, when I feel there's so much of energy in me that where I cannot, to dance. It's so much different then from to dance and then to teach. Teaching is another. I mean, it's so even teaching is. I love teaching. I love teaching. But to dance, I should have learned Mohiniyattam. I should have learned Odissi. I should have gone and stayed. When I look at Nritya Gram, I should have. Why didn't I come here?
One lifetime is not enough.
One lifetime is not enough. Definitely.
And if you had stopped teaching and concentrated on only learning, we would have missed out on a very wonderful teacher.
That's what my teachers say. My students say, "Ma'am, we wouldn't have met you."
Yeah. Suparna, let's understand how did you choose the subject on Devadasis for your PhD? Can you share something about that?
Yeah. My grandmother used to always tell that she's from a place called as Belle in Udupi district. She used to say when in her childhood she used to see these dancers dancing in front of the deity when they were taken in a procession during the festivals. So I used to ask her what were they doing. So she said, "What do I know? They were doing something like this all the time, moving their hands and walking in front of the car during car festival or any festival. The dancers used to come from Basruru. They were Devadasis." So when I spoke to Shri BVK Shastri, he said, "See, Suparna, nobody has done any work on Devadasis of Karnataka, though you might find very little information because this is a subject which is buried some 100 years ago, because Devadasi was banned even in Karnataka even before the Britishers brought the Anti-Nach Act. So Maharaja had stopped dancing in the temple. So this is something, but just think about it, and whatever little information you can collect will be something that you'll be passing on to the next person, whoever is interested in the subject. Don't stop work on it.
And how was that experience? As you gathered more and more knowledge during your research, it must have been a very fascinating thing to learn more about this.
Yeah, it's very interesting to know, but very depressing sometimes, because that system is not there anymore. It was started with an intention, ended up to be something else, and it is like you have a cold, and instead of treating the cold, you cut off the neck. It is like that. You have again your when we have a cold, you should give a treatment for the cold, not just chop off the head saying that the nose is giving the problem. That happened with the system.
So you actually think the system by itself was not wrong in its intention?
No. Dance flourished. See, for dancers, it is not just a good dancer. You have a good dancer, absolutely no use. You should have good musicians, you should have good historians, you should have good people with literary knowledge. In Abhinay Darpana itself, we know that the Saptangas of a Sabha, who should be the seven type of people in your Sabha. So if you're a good dancer, what's the use if you don't have a good singer? Or a good literature if you don't have good songs? Everything should come together and then a dancer can blossom. And more than anything, you need a patron for a dancer. So
Absolutely,
when my didi used to call it vitamin M. So when this vitamin M is not there, when the sponsor, the temple, which was the seat of all the activities, stopped sponsoring the artist. When you go to the, when I read about some of these shasanas are inscriptions. It is not that the dancers have taken so much funds from the temple. It is they have donated for so many causes. When there is pandemic, when there is, if there is a wedding, or when there is a construction of a temple, the Devdasi would have donated. And there are some pillars and mantapas in her name. If she could have donated so much, what was the status that she had? She was a cultural ambassador, and she was in, when I read about the Maharis, they even had the right to go to the private chamber of the king and talk to him about administration, because she is the queen of Jagannatha. So that wonderful. Was the status that she was given. And in Mysore, one of the Devdasi used to go in Hagalu Panju. Hagalu means daytime. Daytime. And Panju is that fire torch that they were holding. In daytime, nobody needs that Panju, but she was given that respect. When every time she was going on a palanquin, she had that Hagalu. Daytime, she had that Panju. Like, which dancer can
command that today?
Think of that.
Actually, it's not, in your opinion, it is, or your research says that it has been brought to disrespect, but it wasn't. That wasn't the intention, or that was not the way it was.
See, disrespect. See, it was a matriarchal family, and they are the bread earners. They have to do something for the society, and women go up to any extent in any society. You see, it is our instinct to save our families.
Yes.
We take care of the children no matter what. And
yes.
Even if you lose your husband, very rare instances where they get married again. But the first thing they think is of their children. But if a man, if he loses his wife, to take care of a child, he will get married again. So when these families who were totally dependent on her earnings were deprived of that earning, of that she was not allowed to dance in the temple. What will she do? All that she knew was to dance. She made best use of the dance. She danced in Zamindar's house, or people whoever supported her dance in some way or the other.
So would you say it was the Britishers who tainted it and sullied this profession or what the service that they did?
Along with the Britishers, I can say it's a society. It's a society. And women is always a soft target. Whatever happens, if there's a calamity, if there's a war or anything, you see so many instances. It is in the tribal also. the first thing they'll attack is the women's. It's human nature.
I think the stigma which which has been given to the Devadasis over the years, your research or if you have published any material on that may clarify it to a great extent.
No, I have not published any material after my research. That's all. I didn't go to do
Probably
anything.
people watching this program will understand. I mean, will like to know more and they can do their own,
Yes,
inferences from that.
I have utmost respect for them. If not for them, we wouldn't have been dancing.
Exactly. So it is a man fostered or say society fostered this stigma on
Yes,
them,
yes.
It's wrongly been projected.
Yes. Even for a matter of fact, even when my mother was learning, her own Dodappa, that is her father's elder brother, used to say all mean things to my grandmother and my grandfather because my mother was learning. Like she was learning music and dance. So he used to say, Totil tuglike, Deepa hachlike, hachwaga, hardly kalta aitalva, innenide kalilike. Eno, ಗೆಜ್ಜೆ ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಸೂಳೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಇದೆಯಾ? These were the things that my grandmother had to learn. I mean, here.
Yeah. And in fact, even in our families, we were not greatly encouraged because it was not a very, preferred option. When you can sing, why do you dance? That
even
was
when
narrative.
My sister and I did my Arangetram, my parents had to hear some odd things like, inmele tondre illa, ibru idare sampadne madlikke.
Oh my God.
Even I did my Arangetram in 1981. So even in 81.
Even as late as that.
If there were people to say such things. And after my sister's marriage, all the proposals that I got to get married, I mean, they said, is she going to continue dancing? Innu mugdilva? Is it not over? What is she still learning? What is this choreography? Learning Kathak. Kathak means they had that idea of mujras and tawaids doing all this dance and movies where Mughalism and all. They had idea. They didn't know Kathak was another classical dance and there's so much to Kathak, so much in Kathak, just like Bharatnatyam or any other classical dance.
See, the very fact that, when you take up such an art form like, say, Kathak or Bharatanatyam, Odissi, whatever may be the case, there is so much of hard work. I think people should at least endorse that. I mean, Sumne, you can't just put somebody on the stage and they can't dance, You just put me on the stage, I cannot dance. So it requires a lot of perseverance, lot of hard work, lot of practice, lot of passion, sacrifices that you need to make to reach wherever you have.
Yeah.
Suparna, tell us about your institution, Sai Arts International.
Yeah.
When did you start it and what all do you teach there?
In Sai Arts International, we started it after our marriage. In 91, I got married. But I was, as I had said earlier, I was not very particular about teaching. Like I wanted to learn. But some family problems, I had to teach. I was teaching in a school, then I started teaching at home. The students who were learning from me in that school, they came home and they said, no, ma'am, we want to learn only from you. So there are 6 to 8 students. And I told them, no, I'm going to stop teaching. I'm not going to teach anymore. And my mother, she said, see, I will give you place in this hall. I'm going to move all the sofas and everything. The children are coming every day asking you to teach them. Don't teach any new students, but start teaching only these 8 girls. And there was a boy, Shekhar. And so I started continuing teaching them, saying that You learn whatever you want to learn, and after you, I'm not going to teach anyone. I'm not going to continue. And then one of our relatives, they came with their little girl, and her name is Shamika. And she was my daughter's age. She said, if she wants to learn dance, and she wants to learn dance only from you, she's not agreeing to go to any dance class. And I said, okay, she's related to me, so okay, fine, Shamika, you come. And then, so Shamika said, after 2 months, she said, ma'am, can I bring my friend? She's my neighbor. So that's how it started.
You were a reluctant teacher.
I was a reluctant teacher because I was teaching, after my Arangetram, I was teaching in my dance school. And then when my sister got married, I was 18 or so. My teacher said, why don't you start teaching in your house? So I was teaching there. I mean, we didn't have many students like how it is now.
Yes.
Some 6 to 7 students. That's it. And so I said, I thought I should not teach anymore. I should only pursue learning something. I was doing my master's in Bharatanatyam.
Or you concentrate on your own performance.
Yeah, I wanted to do that, but these children never let me. And one of the girls, she did her Arangetram, and she's my first student, Nandana. And that was in 2000.
For somebody who's been a reluctant teacher, today you've done some amazing work with visually challenged children.
Yes.
And you've been teaching them. Please tell us more about that. How did that happen, and how did you?
Once I started teaching here, I mean, mouth to mouth, I never had a board. Even till today, I do not have a board in front of my house saying that dance is taught here or Sai Arts International. I do not have a board. It is all people who have come from reference, the students, whoever has come. I started really enjoying teaching, and along with teaching them, being with youngsters, it's like taking all the vitamins. Being associated with the youngsters has really helped me going on. And teaching, as you asked me, teaching the visually challenged, this happened in 2007 when we traveled to the US. We were a group of dancers. We are called as Articulate. And my colleague, my friend, Mysore B. Nagraj, we came in association with 5 visually challenged boys who were already trained in Bharatanatyam. You must have heard of Ramana Maharshi School for the Blind in Bangalore.
Yeah.
They were trained there under my own friend, Ashok. And they were not performing. And after they came out of their school, they were not performing. And through a common friend of ours, who was a makeup artist, Kanakraj, he said, these boys need some help. Why don't you help them? And that's how Nagraj took them into our fold. And then we had an inclusive program, and we traveled the US in 2007. And once we came back, Nagraj and I decided, why not train them properly again in our own, whatever we want them. And then we prepared music for them with the help of D.S. Srivatsa and G. Gurumurthy, our percussionist. We got some music specially recorded for them. And then that's how I started teaching them.
That's nice. Is there any special technique that you use to teach them?
Yes.
I mean, is the methodology, does it change?
With these boys, I didn't find it very difficult because they were already trained dancers. And when I was teaching them here in my dance class, I came upon a visually challenged school, blind school called as Deepa Academy for the Differently Abled, which is just a stone throw away from my house. So I went there to the school, and then I asked them. I didn't know it was something that came up very recently. Not recently now. Then once I started teaching these boys, so I went and asked them, and I was surprised to see a few girls there. Just a few girls, some 13 or 15 girls. Then I asked the principal, can I teach dance to these girls? He said, why not? The girls were very reluctant. They said dance. They don't know what it's dance. I mean, it was not possible for them to see dance. They had all come from remote villages, and they were boarded here. They had boarding and lodging facility here, and the school. They had hired one house with 2 floors, and that's how they were running the school there. That is where I thought of the methodology there. With the boys, they were already trained. They have performed intensely. They performed with Ashok and from Ramana Maharshi school. They had performed all over the world. And with the girls, it was a beginning experience for me. And that is where I started experimenting on how to teach Bharatanatyam to them. Among the boys, 2 boys, Busegowda and Guru Prasad, are totally blind. And the rest of them, they had partial vision. But these girls, I was thinking how to teach. Then I developed my own methodology in which my daughter is doing her research on teaching methodology for the visually challenged. And in 2 sets of 6 students, I was able to present their Ranga Pravesha. And the girls
Wonderful.
they're still performing. And one of the girls, she's taken up her master's. She's doing her MA in Bharatanatyam at Bangalore University. And she's teaching. She's partially blind. And she's teaching the rest of the students at the Blind Academy. They have shifted from Rajajinagar. They have shifted quite far. And with this lockdown for the past 1.5 years, I've not been able to travel to that place. Otherwise, weekly twice I was going. Thursday and Friday, I was going to Sunkadakatte. You must have heard of Sunkadakatte in Magadi Road.
Oh,
I was going there and teaching them. So Pallavi has taken up the responsibility of teaching now.
So, Suparna, what should be admired is from being a reluctant teacher, you've become such a committed teacher. And twice a week, you've been going to just teach these children. It must have been a very satisfying experience.
It is a special experience teaching the visually challenged. I don't know, I cannot experience it. It is something you experience when you give something.
Yeah.
I feel it is a blessing, God has given me that health, the stamina, the interest, the support of all my other students also. They support my daughter, who is also into this dancing, who helps me in teaching the visually challenged. There's so many, my husband, my family, so blessed to be teaching them. And it's a blessing to teach them because I get back so much, which I cannot explain in words.
Yes, and these kind of art forms, dance is a therapy for them, I would say, and it should have given them so much of self-confidence at the end of the day. Like for somebody who's been always dismissed as visually challenged, they are able to perform.
Yes.
Because in dance you need to know the space. Even singing is different, but
Yes.
in dance you need to understand the space, understand the rhythm, understand everything. There's a lot of factors that come to play. But
Yes.
such children to perform, it's really commendable.
Dance has really given them strength, self-confidence. To give an example of a few, Lata Mani, she used to, when I first met her, she was just 13, 14. She used to say, ma'am, when I used to go to school, normal school, my fellow classmates used to throw stones at me and say, don't come, don't play with us. They used to drive me away by throwing stones at me. So when she came to Bangalore here and joined the institution, Deepa Academy, and then later on when she came here to dance class, whenever I went near her to correct her, she used to shiver. She used to feel so scared. I mean, almost all the girls were of the same. The first thing I had to, more than teaching them, I had to win their confidence that I'm not going to harm them. I used
See, that they should, yearn for a human touch or not to fear a human touch, and
and
you have instilled not only confidence that they wanted to be accepted and
yes,
always being rejected. All these things had changed for them after.
rejection. Some of them rejection in their own family, saying that
So,
you are Amishta, you are Daridra, you are good for nothing, you know, and they all of them say that, ma'am, dancing has given us a lot of confidence. And now the same Latamani is a principal of this blind school. She's done
oh,
her
great.
graduation. She has done her graduation. She's done her B.Ed. She's done her MA in Kannada literature, and now she's heading one of their branch.
It's a very inspiring
And
story.
another student of mine, Gulab Shah, she's working in Mysore High Court. So
Wonderful.
when she went for the interview, the first thing they asked her is about her dance. So the moment she got selected, she called me up and said, ma'am, if not for your dance, I would have, she's a Muslim girl, I would have got married, and her younger sister has 4 children. She said, I would have been like my younger sister with 4 children. But not only teaching them dance, we all dance teachers. We also, we are counselors. We are like their next mothers. So that has
Exactly.
helped them a lot. And I feel very fortunate for being a part of their life, and for being, I used to tell them, see, you're learning dance and we are spending so much, it was all free, teaching, performance, costumes, visuals, everything was from our side. And you should be instrumental in helping many more through this dance. And twice our girls performed in US. They were able to raise funds, and they were able to, that fund what they raised, the organization, the Deepa Academy, was able to open a blind school in Chamarajnagar in Mysore, where they have children from first standard who do not
Okay.
even, some of the parents, because they are blind, they don't even teach them basic hygiene. And
Very sad.
when I went to Deepa Academy in Chamarajnagar, and when the principal Shantram sir said, ma'am, all this is because of you, I said, thank God.
Yes, I think God has somehow put you in a position of giving you an opportunity because probably He knew that you can, rise up to it.
It is a
Wonderful work,
blessing.
Suparna.
It is a
Absolutely
blessing.
wonderful.
It is a blessing, ma'am. It is definitely a blessing.
No, truly wonderful. In fact, I am personally very impressed with what all you have done. And the story of Latamani is something we should, it should be made into a storyboard.
Yes.
Such an inspiration. This Nrityotsava, Thai Nrityotsava that you have been conducting every month, month after month, month after month. What is it exactly, and how are you managing during this COVID time?
That is totally a brainchild of my husband and his efforts. He wanted to do something for the youngsters, youth, who are good performers, but who are not getting a platform. So it is more than 10 years now. And for the past 1 year, we are not doing anything because of this lockdown. We have lost 1 year of Sai Nrityotsav. And it is basically for the youth, upcoming artist.
Very nice.
And yeah, so he thought about it, and then we asked Maya Didi to come and inaugurate it. And in the beginning, we thought we'll do it only for some time, 1 year or something. It was not thought of every month scheme. Then Maya Didi, the appreciation that we got on that day, it made him think more deeper. Why not make this every month, festival?
Yeah.
And with Maya Didi's blessings, That's how he started it, and he himself works on everything because he's I
Yeah,
mean,
he's passionate about it. Yeah.
he is passionate about it. Whatever it is, people ask, where do you get the fund for it from? He says, don't bother about all those things. Money
I
is
think
not
Sai takes care for him.
money is not for you to keep. Money comes and goes. I mean, he follows. He's a Baba devotee. He's Sai Venkatesh. So Baba's saying, money comes and goes, morality comes and grows. So he follows very religiously, follows Baba's statements like serve all, love all. So his service to dance field, that is his service to dance field. And there are so many dancers who have taken that platform as a for them to kickstart their career in dance.
Excellent, excellent.
They say, sir, my first performance was in Sai Arts. Now I have performed in so many other uh, platforms. There are so many dancers who said that, sir, I hadn't danced for so many years and you give me an opportunity. And so many dancers who came
Wonderful,
and
wonderful.
said, sir, we never got an opportunity to perform in Bangalore. There are so many dancers from rural area who have come and performed here, and so many from other states, and many dancers from outside the country who said, sir, it was an opportunity for me to perform in front of my grandparents. And they would have learned abroad and they wouldn't have got a chance to perform here. Either you have to pay so much
Yes.
in all these festivals, or you have to be an established dancer. But
Oh,
here,
you need to pay to perform, is it?
yeah, no, there are so many festivals where you need to pay. But here we don't take any payment. No payment is taken from any dancer.
Oh, it is very strange. Even I've heard about it, that you need to pay to perform.
Yes, there are many festivals where you need to pay. It might take care of their expenses, but Sai doesn't charge anything for the auditorium or for anything. Neither do we pay the artist, because
You have your own auditorium?
no. We hire an auditorium. We hire Seva Sadhana or Sukra.
Very nice. So, Suparna, about your daughter, Shweta. A very, very bright dancer, which holds, which is very, very encouraging for us. Please tell about her, and you would have been her first teacher?
No, I'm not a first teacher. She never liked my dance class. And I didn't want to force anything on her. And so I started, I used to take her to my friend Nandini Mehta, who is staying in Malleshwaram. So Shweta, she's a very soft-spoken and very loving person to Shweta. And Shweta used to like the way she speaks. She was very attracted towards her as Nandini auntie, as all my friends, all aunties and uncles for her. And that's how she started going there. And after 3 years, I think, so she learned all her basics in Nandini's dance class. And then after some time, then she started saying, Amma, I want to learn from you. Otherwise, she used to say, Amma, you do not know anything. This is not correct.
Like all children.
This is not the way to teach. This is not the way to teach. This is not the way to sing. And after then she started. Then I told Nandini, she would like to learn from me. Is it okay? Then she said, yes, fine. So that interest, the basic interest, because of Nandini's method of teaching, Nandini's affection, it became very solid for Shweta. If I had been very strict with her from dance.
Exactly.
So that was a good thing that I did, and I thank Nandini all my life for instilling that fire in her.
Absolutely.
That
yes, and sort of develop that interest in her.
Interest in dance. Yeah.
True.
And she has been a very obedient student. Not in the beginning, she never used to like me correcting her. Like any other daughter, she used to have all her tantrums and nakras and all those things. And one day I lost my cool in the class in front of everyone. There was a tennis racket, which I just swish on her because she was giving some back answers.
Suparna, ನಂಬಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಲ್ಲ.
Not when I get angry. And that was a big insult for her when I hit her with the racket in front of all the students. And then I told her, get out of my class. You don't come to my class. So she just, and my mother was staying in the first floor. All that she did was run to my mother. She used to call my mother Amma. She ran to my mother and she was crying. And my mother asked her what happened. So then she said, she hit me. Then she said, why did she hit you? Because I answered her like this. Then she asked, would Nandana speak like this to your mother? She said, no. Would Archana speak like this to your mother? She said, no. Would Veena speak like this to your mother? So she said, no. Then why did you speak to her? No, she's my mother. Not in the class. In the class, you're her student. Behave like a student. Don't speak to your mother. In the house, you have all the fun. You have all the arguments. But not in the class, you should behave like a student. Then she gave her a glass of milk, and then she said, after she cooled down for some time, then she told Shweta, if you want to continue dancing as her student, go down, go to the class, namaskara madbitu, tell I'm sorry. She said, no, let her come home. I will tell sorry. She said, no, not in the house. Nandana will not come to the house. Nandana will go to the class. Now you go to her as a student, say sorry, and then behave like a student. Then she came down. That's where her, from that day onwards, she was my student. Till today, she doesn't argue or anything. She has anything to say, she'll come and say, softly, Amma, it's not like this, it is like that. And then I told her, see, Shweta, I don't want to lose 100 more students who might come to me and who are already here just because of you. You are always my daughter. That nobody can change that. But as a student, if you want to remain as a student, you should be my student, just like the other students. And I'm very, very, very friendly with my students.
They don't get the tennis racket treatment?
No.
ಅವ್ರ ಆತರ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ.
ಅವ್ರ ಆತರ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ಇಲ್ಲ. Even till today, my students who are all gurus themselves, we have a very good rapport. We don't, they come, they say, ma'am, higittu, hagittu. And in case I have a problem or I have a doubt or anything, I call up my student Somshekar, who is also a guru now. I call him up and say, Somu, higide, how to go about this. I take their suggestion, or even choreography or recording, everything. I take the support of some student of mine. And I tell them, this is a learning process for you also. And it's a support for me also.
It's a constant learning. Yeah.
Yeah, it is give and take in the class. If not for the students who are so good, I wouldn't have been a teacher. I always tell them, it is you and me together. Otherwise, this science wouldn't have been possible.
It wouldn't be possible. Talking about choreography, I know you've done a lot of wonderful productions like Mahashakti, and among them, I think, is there anything which is particularly close to your heart which you'd like to talk about?
Everything is close to my heart. Nothing, one production in particular. The process of script writing, talking to scholars, talking to musicians, working with them, everything is learning process, and every time it is different. Like it might be Viveka and the 4-path yoga. Learn so much about Vivekananda, learned about the 4-path of yoga. And then when doing Mahashakti, it is about the shlokas and the rhythmic patterns. And then when I did Ashtaratna, it is about the 8 Jnanapita Prashasti awardees. I read so much about them. So every time it is different. Every time it is different.
Wonderful. How did you first feel when you heard that you got the Karnataka Kalashri Award?
I was surprised.
Why? You deserve it.
I was surprised. They asked me to send my file, and I do not know about computers. And I haven't collected my paper cuttings and all those things. I do not have a file of mine. It was my husband. He collected everything. And within 2-3 days, my daughter and my husband, they said, see, this is your file. They had all the collections, they put everything together. And then I got a call from the academy saying, where's your file? I said, I'll send it. Then they said, tomorrow is a meeting. Where is your file? I said, I will send it. And then the file was sent in the last minute. And when I got a call to say that I have been selected, I didn't tell anyone. I said, till I get an official letter, I don't want to tell anyone that I'm this.
Nim tayi idra?
Illa, nam tande idru.
Thank you so much, Suparna. It has been such a wonderful conversation with you. I look forward to seeing you sometime in person.
Thank you so much, because talking to you made me go back 40 years, more than 40 years.
The entire journey.
Yeah, recollecting all those years of my life in dance has made me, there's nothing happening around this COVID time, just basic work at home and then online class. So this is something that has made me, I will cherish this day always. And I look forward to meet you personally sometime.
Likewise, I will also cherish this conversation. There is, whether it is about the Devadasis, whether it is about the tennis racket, whether it was about that, when you were talking about Mangalore, my memories of Mangalore, Mangaluru, Nan Bandiddu, when I was about that age, Dharmasthala, it has been almost traveling in time.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we'll meet again next week, next time. Stay safe and go ahead with your vaccination.
Thank you. Thank you.